Battlers, I am back. Welcome to another episode of the United Podcast Match Rewind Edition. Well, when it comes to hard work, battlers, and getting the job done right, none do it better than our great mates at A+ Contracting and Polywelding. Just like our mighty Newcastle Knights leave it all out on the field, they bring the same level of dedication to the mining and civil projects industry. They're the experts you need for professional, cost-effective, and comprehensive contracting services. They do the hard work, battlers, so you don't have to. Well, battlers, that's right, a rivalry reborn, the quintessential tale of two halves. That's right, the Newcastle Knights defeat our reinvigorated, our brand, can you almost say brand new? Kind of a brand new rival. That's right, against the Manly Seagulls in a Golden Point thriller to snap a 4-game losing streak at Mac Jones Stadium as our captain, Kalen Ponga, scores his first try of 2025 to clinch that said victory in what will be one of the great second half comebacks. A Kim Kardashian story for the Newcastle Knights this week. So many talking points to come out of this game. I'm so excited for this episode. I'm sure you guys are too. Look, the Adam O'Brien press conference, plenty to talk about there. The Fletcher boys running an absolute muck on the Seagulls. And again, Kalen Ponga's poetic, as if the rugby league gods wrote that script themselves. This is a rugby league gods screenplay, and Kalen Ponga was the star at the end. All right, battlers, also on the show, we'll be taking a look at some of the United news breaking this week. We'll be anointing your LGB Marine Titanium Forge Player of the Week. I'll be giving you my PayCat 3-1 United Players of the Week and answering your burning questions, as well as taking a couple of calls on the United hotline. So, battlers, sit back and get ready as we take a look at the Adam O'Briens and outs of this week's Golden Point thriller against those silver-tail bastards. Let's go! All right, battlers, that's right. First things first this week. Now, look, I want to just put this out nice and early so we can move on, because it has taken somewhat of a bit of a shine off the game. So I thought, you know what? Let's get it done with. Let's just get this dealt with, because I know it's going to be a talking point. It's going to be a talking point, but we're just going to dive headfirst into it. That's right. Adam O'Brien's the post-game press conference, and then again he did a media release the following day addressing said comments. So look, let's take a short break and listen to the comments Adam O'Brien had made post-game in the press conference.
Yeah, it's really disappointing to people to even, I know the scoreline's not what they want, but to boo the effort that went into that first half from a really young team. The people that boo don't know anything about rugby league. They're probably the ones that cheered at the end too. That disappoints me that they do that, because although the first half we defended our hearts out, you got to remember there's a really, really young footy team there against a very good opposition, and you saw what they did last week to a pretty full-strength Brisbane team. So they got some dangerous players there. So our guys, I thought we were excellent in the first half, and we made a few errors leading into half-time, which gassed us a little bit, which led to the last try. I thought we could have been going into the sheds at 12-0 down, but tremendous effort in the second half. I think we only made the 2 errors, and there was plenty of ball movement. And, again, with the first half, I know with the booing and that, I know people are disappointed with us, but trying their backsides off. We don't have a front rower available, like a play 1 or a play 2 front rower, and to lose Frizz straight away.
All right, battlers, Adam O'Brien's post-match press conference. Now, we're going to have a listen now. If you didn't know, now you're going to know. I think it was the very next morning, was it? Or Saturday morning? I can't remember. One of the mornings there. He's come out and addressed said comments in a presser. So we're going to have a quick listen to some of the words Adam O'Brien said there.
Before we get started, I just want to address some comments that I made last night in the press conference. I apologise unreservedly to our members and fans that I offended, and I can understand why they would be offended. I was underprepared for that question. I was unaware that there had been some booing on my way down at halftime, and the first time I'd heard of it was with that question, and I went straight into protection mode for our playing group. So that's not an excuse. I'm here to own that, that's not how I feel about our members. I understand we're here because of those people. I think I've openly stated the opposite over a number of years, that, they are an educated, fan base. They are an educated crowd. They sit through all types of weather and all sorts of score lines with unwavering loyalty, and I'm disappointed that I let them down with an emotional response, looking to protect the playing group. And I didn't have all the facts at the time. As I said, I was underprepared for the answer, and hopefully over time I can, by owning this, earn back a bit of their respect, because that's not how I feel about it.
There you go, battlers. Adam O'Brien addressing the public after a poor choice of words. Now, look, this is certainly hasn't been well received for Adam O'Brien. Let's be honest, all the battlers turning up on a cold Thursday, staring down the barrel of a fifth straight loss at McDonald Jones Stadium. 16-0 halftime. Again, another performance we were looking at that point of the game. Not a lot to get excited about. And, the team getting a boo, a home team getting booed in their own stadium. Not great. And, for a bloke that really does need to try and win back, the hearts and minds of a lot of battlers, a lot of Knights supporters, this couldn't have come at a worse time for Adam O'Brien. He clinches such a great victory. And then all this is just dominating the headlines. For me, this is the most sad part of this situation. The headline should be all about the miraculous comeback of the Newcastle Knights, defeating the old foe Manly back home and rejuvenating their attack. But unfortunately, this has got legs and it's taken away from that. And all the pressure should be put on those fucking Manly bastards. But Adam O'Brien's dominated the headlines there. And, look, it was a poor choice of words. Absolutely. But what do I keep saying on here, battlers? I feel like it's the quote of the night. And what is it, Lou? Do you know the said quote I'm talking about?
When emotions are high, intelligence is low.
Exactly right. Now, it absolutely wasn't an emotional response. And he's kind of, and again, I don't agree with it, but he's a little bit vindicated after some really, really, really distasteful, some really shit comments and messages sent to our boy James Schiller. Reached out to James. He's laughed off those dumb, stupid comments, death threats made. So I can understand Adam O'Brien why he does want to go into bat for such a young playing group. As I said, this is the youngest team Adam O'Brien has ever named. And he's trying to look out for the boys, and I completely understand that. But again, just really, really poor choice of words. And I genuinely believe that he doesn't think that we're all nuffies who don't understand rugby league. Let's be honest. He's coaching the Newcastle Knights. There's no greater supporter base on the planet of the earth than Newcastle Knights supporter bases. Absolute rugby league heartland, diehards, turn up rain, hail, or shine through the dark ages. Even when our team was getting absolutely pumped every other week, we kept turning up. So it's just super unfortunate that this has happened, but kudos to him. He's come out, he's addressed it, he's owned it. And let's hope after tonight, this is the last we hear about it. We can just say it happened. It is what it is. The most important thing is, battlers, we got the 2 points. We got the win. So, but you let me know. If that's going to scar you or not, or if you're prepared to move on and just go, it is what it is. He said those words. Let's be honest. Look, some of the great coaches, battlers, some of the absolute greats have had blow-ups. Look at Desi, Wayne, Ricky Stewart, Trent Robertson. Trent Robertson's had more than one. It happens to the best of them. We're all human. It's emotional. He's under massive amounts of pressure. It is what it is. Let's not try and detract what the boys managed to pull off in an absolute I'm lost for words, miraculous second half performance. So There you go, battlers. First things first, brought to you by Newcastle Mixed Martial Arts, which is Newcastle Lake Macquarie's in the Hunter's highest rated Google gym, highest rated, mixed martial arts gym with more than 350 Google 5-star reviews. Beginners are welcomed and encouraged into their safe, inclusive, and most importantly, fun training center. Head coach Jess Landry's experience includes being directly trained by UFC veterans as well as under the wrestling coach of the Sydney Roosters. Newcastle Mixed Martial Arts is centrally located in Cardiff, right beside the Cardiff train station, offering day and night classes for kids, teens, and adults, including Muay Thai kickboxing, gi and no-gi Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and mixed martial arts. So make sure you go book your free trial right now, battlers, by visiting their website at newcastlemma.com.au. All right, battlers, well, if you're enjoying the show, do your boy a solid. Hit that thumbs up if you're watching this live stream right now. And if you're listening to a podcast, drop a big old 5-star review. It really does help more than you will ever know. Make sure you're following us on all social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, X, whatever platform you waste your time on, we'll be there. So make sure you're following us there, because every like, follow, subscribe, all share, all helps us out here, battlers. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to sweeten the deal for you. Now, I tell you what, I couldn't have timed this any better. What's in the air at the moment? Beating the Seagulls, a massive comeback. Well, you want to relive that all over again? I'll tell you why you're going to want to do this. Battlers, I am giving away. That's right. And I'll be announcing of the winner of this, all right, because I keep getting asked. It's going to be the roster review show, not next week, the following week, all right? That's what I'm announcing, the winner. The winner. All right, now, what you're going to do, battlers, to go in the run for the sexy 1997 Premiers T-shirt, as well as the 1997 Grand Final T-shirt. And when I say these are Mickey Mouse, these are like brand new. These have been locked away in a vault, not a mark on them, about an XL, 2XL sort of size. So your boy's looking after you. Again, absolutely schmick. And I've also chucked in there for you the beautiful clean skin V-neck 3/4 sleeve Newcastle Knights jersey. All you need to do, battlers, is you're going to go find our brand new YouTube channel. You're going to go subscribe there. And you're going to head across to Spotify. You're going to go follow us on Spotify. And while you're there, you're going to leave us a big old 5-star review. And then you will go in the running to win these 3 absolutely sexy pieces of Newcastle Knights kit. So get on to that, battlers. All right. Now, before we jump into the game, let's take a look at this week's Knighted news, battlers. All right, kicking it off, our boy Kai Pearce-Paul. Yes, there'd been rumors and reports circling for the last few weeks, months even, that he would be departing the Newcastle Knights, and it breaks my heart with the announcement on Friday, the very day afterwards of the big win, that he'd signed a 3-year deal with the West Tigers, which is very sad news after a very, very, very good performance for the Newcastle Knights. He had an absolutely great game. I can't wait to talk about Kai Pearce-Paul later in the show. It's just a shame we never really, up until, very, very recently, it feels like we hadn't got the best out of Kai. We've made the switch from the left edge over to his most preferred side on the right, and now things are just starting to gel, and it's just been whisked away from us that, unfortunately, his time is he's going to enter the Newcastle Knights at the end of this season, because the Knights did hold off contract talks initially. Reports back in January were saying they're going to wait the first 6 rounds or something before they sort of came to the negotiation tables. But I tell you what, if he played the games he had played the last 2 weeks in the first 2 rounds, I've got a strong feeling that it's not even going anywhere. They are just locking this guy up. Super unfortunate. You guys all know he's one of my favorites. One of my core memories that I'll hold to the day I die is witnessing his very first try set up by Kyle McCarthy last year. It was one of the better moments of the Newcastle Knights last year. Very, very fond memories of that. Got a lot of time for Kai. Great guy coming over from the Super League from Wigan, hit the ground running with us. But unfortunately, we're just going to have to send him out on a high, battlers. This is going to be it. And it is what it is there. And continuing on with some more contract talks, Dane Gagai, battlers. Haven't got much good news for you. The veteran outside back looks possibly to be moving on to the end of this season. And we're all just sitting there. This cannot possibly be another guy that's been, the last month has been an absolute shining light for a team that hasn't really fired a shot. Apparently, the Knights are unwilling to match the $400K salary. So if you cast your minds back to May last year, he signed that 2-year extension, warding off interest from the Roosters to sign on for this year, and then there'll be a mutual option, basically meaning both parties have to be in agreement for activate that. Dane's very much keen, and why wouldn't he be keen? He's playing some great football. Age is just a number to that man. It truly is. He's playing as good as any center in the game. Let's be honest. It's just super unfortunate for a guy with 303 NRL games and a team that's so young. We talked about the theme of the roster review show is just how much inexperience there is. And then you sort of looked at, again, we'll touch a little bit on James Schiller's game and whatnot. And you got young guys like Kyle McCarthy coming through. Well, how important would it be to keep a guy like Dane in the building? Rarely injured. He's very rarely injured. You compare him and Brady. Brady's unfortunately just been kept getting plagued with these soft tissue injuries in his hamstrings. Dane, on the flip side, I can't genuinely recall the last time Dane was injured. I cannot recall. 10 points to the battlers who can drop in the comments last time Dane Gagai was injured. I swear it wasn't long. He was there through the dark ages with us. Terrible period between 2015 and 17. He never wanted to leave the Knights. I just felt like I think the yarn getting around, he was a little bit disrespected of the way he sort of, contract talks and that were going. So he sort of bounced over the South. But had that been squared up, he would have never left us to begin with. So let's hope that does change because, he isn't showing much sign of age at all. He certainly doesn't seem like he's lost a step or two. He's looking really, really good, Dane. So keep a close eye on that one, battlers. But yes, that'll round out this week's Knighted News. Now let's sink our teeth into one of the great rugby league comebacks. That's right. The Newcastle Knights defeating the Seagulls 26 points to 22. #rivalry reborn. Now, Lou, do I get to claim any kind of credit? Somewhat. There's got to be some small slice of credit that your boy gets to take for reinvigorating, for reforging this great rivalry, right?
Yes, I do believe so.
And the great Robbio. Shout out to you, Robbio. Even got me in the Newey Herald. Hey, all the scandal. Robbio Davis calls Kalen Ponga not a good fullback or whatever it was. So
Lincoln's been reminding me every day.
Have I? Oh, sorry, another reminder. But yes, 26 to 22 in a Golden Point thriller. Now, let's take a look at the game that was played. Now, what do we say? Heading into the game again, inexperience, and we're saying Tyson Frizzell. For me, Tyson Frizzell was gonna have to be the dude. We had young Eliza Salsele Moana make his debut. You got young guys, Tommy Cant, and such. And we needed, after the Dragons performance, to really make a statement in the middle and not been rolled through the middle. We needed our boy Tyson.
Sorry to interrupt, Lincoln. Joseph has replied March last year, Gags was injured.
Oh, I must have a very short memory. Mustn't have been long, mate. What was it, like a week or something? I don't recall that. There you go. 10 points to you, Joseph. But yeah, less than 5 minutes. Tyson Frizzell, Gornsky. But, it was sort of level, the playing field was leveled. Leo Hopewadi also ruled out Cat 1 HIA. So it was kind of two critical pieces to either team taken off the table with 5 minutes to go. So reshuffling, a lot of adjustments to make. Now, as I said, Newcastle Knights booed off the field in the first half, and it was purely and simply because the Seagulls were just blowing us away with quick play the balls. They were absolutely dominating. 6 line breaks to 0. Ola Kawatu in the first half was absolutely their best player. He was absolutely killing us. Those quick play the balls, I'll tell you what, that Leo Hopewadi no try, which, thankfully he butchered it. If you go back, it wasn't that early in the game, no fatigue or whatever, 5-on-2 overlap. And you see what Ola Kawatu was doing on the right edge. Quick play the balls, shifting out there. And I think, what have I got him here? Brooks tips it on before Gags, and then poor old bloody Fletcher Hunt. He's out there, I think, with about four Seagulls in and around him. Caught and absolutely nowhere, our boy Fletcher Hunt. And it just looked really, really disjointed, discombobulated. The Manly play ball just way too quick. The Knights just couldn't hang on. And it wasn't even from second phase play. If you go back, I think Manly only made 3 offloads all game. So it was just hitting, bang, play the ball. And, that retreating defense, the Newcastle Knights and the Seagulls were just playing that, they were playing the brand of football. We would go on to play, just change direction, retreating defense, just too strong. You had Sipley score a really, really soft try through the middle, just with some quick play the ball from the outside backs. And Ola Kawatu, the same thing. Again, Newcastle Knights retreating defense just could not slow them down. They were just absolutely blazing us through there. But it wasn't as if the Newcastle Knights didn't have their opportunities. Kalen Ponga, he'll be a massive talking point at tonight's show. There was a few instances, Kalen Ponga, if you cast your minds back, Daly Cherry Evans does a kick. Kalen Ponga trucks nut hard. I think he does a little shimmy on Ola Kawatu, managed to find his front. Jake Dvorovich hangs on a little too long. We get the penalty, kick it down there. We're in the red zone. We're in the red zone. Unfortunately, our boy James Schiller, didn't he have a bit of a rocks and diamonds night? Through that really poor offload, if you can remember, the play died. But then, Kalen Ponga, once more, Kalen Ponga, we managed to get down there. Kalen Ponga puts on a really depth sort of grubber kick, managed to get the repeat set. And then, just through sheer impatience and poor execution, Brodie Jones pushes an offload he shouldn't have. I think the 6 again just went also, which really, really stung. And then there was another butchered opportunity there. Also, KP, left side raid, hits Schiller, and then Falalo, the young winger, just cuts him in half. Ball spills out. So it wasn't as if the Newcastle Knights didn't find their way down in the red zone. It's just on the occasions that we did go down there, we just butchered our opportunities. Couldn't complete the set. Rarely got to put in a fifth tackle option. I think the only fifth tackle play we did was maybe that crossfield kick to Kai Pearce-Paul off Jack Cogger for a set restart, which we did butcher. I swear the Newcastle Knights are the worst team in the comp for either when they are doing the short dropout or they're trying to receive the short dropout. I swear we just butcher them all the time. So in the first half, there was some opportunities. We did get down there. It was just disjointed. Again, poor execution and just impatience at the end of the day. But again, heading into the sheds, 16-0. The boys are getting booed. The battlers are pissed off. Some have even gone home. Comment away if you went home. I got a stack of messages from blokes and Sheilas that said, nah, they cracked the shit, so went home. Well, this is why you don't go home too early, do you, battlers? Now, the theme of tonight's show, what do we keep saying about the Newcastle Knights? Is there's no plan B. There's no plan B. They just keep going doing the same thing. Well, the boys, they finally lean into their strengths. And what's that? That's the edges. That's the edges for the Newcastle Knights. So it's not as if the Manly Seagulls came out slow. It's not like they played kind of like like what we do. How many times have we come out in the second half in that first 20 minutes and we look fucking dreadful? It's like the boys have been put to sleep in the dressing sheds. They started pretty good. Ruben Garrick, he contested a high ball. It was only just unfortunate for Ruben Garrick. He catches the ball and tries to offload and KP gets it. And then Daly Cherry Evans could have quite easily kicked a 40-20. He was just a bit short on that. So, they came out of the gates pretty good, Manly. They sort of, they sort of kept that same sort of expansive, dominating sort of football coming into the second half. But the Newcastle Knights well and truly switching it up now. As we said about our boy James Schiller coming into the game. So we had our boy Fletcher Hunt playing on the right wing. Greggy Marzu makes his return, so he's on the left. And then you had Schill left center. So that did not work. And Adam O'Brien's gone, absolutely, we cannot continue this. I think he had about 4 errors in the first half. Missed a bunch of tackles. Ruben Garrick was just, running right on our boy, James Schiller. So the adjustment was made. Shills, you're going back to the right wing, and our boy, the flying mullet, well, you're pairing up with Greggy Marzu on the left edge. You're going to go play in Brady's spot left center. And it worked. It absolutely worked. And then Newcastle Knights is playing a bit of that east-west football that we were talking about. Leaning in your strength. If you can't dominate through the middle, well, you got to start using your edges. And absolutely, did they start to do that? And particularly the right edge. The right edge with Razor Sharp. Now, Razor Sharp, usually parked up on the left. I really like this. I don't know if anyone else picked up. Razor playing predominantly on the right edge. And I want to talk to you about why that paid dividends so much in the game script for the Newcastle Knights. So that edge with KPP, who was absolutely sensational. It was his best game as a Newcastle Knight, I felt, with Gags, and then it brought Shills into the game. He sort of has started having a bit more influence on the game. Absolutely starting to torch Ben Travojevic, Tulau, Wardle. After their adjustments, Cooler had to shift out to the fullback role. Wardle comes in. He had the most missed tackles, and I can absolutely see why. 6 missed tackles. He was getting schooled by Kai Pearce-Paul. But I want to talk to you about the advantages, battlers, because what you saw Razor Sharp parked up on that right edge, and you had KP doing his thing on the left. Now, what you're doing in there is the advantage of running dual attacking threats on either side of the field compared to just pairing one on the one side. So how many times have we seen it where you see Razor on the left and you'll see like the sweep play, KP coming out the backs, playing deep. Well, what you're doing then is you're going to put Razor on the right and you're going to put KP on the left. What you're going to do is you're going to, your opposition's going to have to mark up. You've got 2 guys that are just absolute running threat. You got 2 guys that you spread the defense out, right? So they can't pre-stack, they can't read shape, just going to keep them guessing the entire game. And it makes it far less predictable. So instead of always setting up for a sweep or sort of hitting short side run unders or overs, you can play more direct without sort of slowing slowing down the game, because that's what the Seagulls were doing. We're not trying to set up shape. We're just playing that sort of eyes up football, and it's going to maximize that space across the park to get your edges more one-on-one, give them more chances, and the defenders are stretched more laterally. And that's what you saw. I'll get to it in a very, very short minute. It also helps with your tempo also. So you're not constantly sort of setting up for deep sweeping shapes so that, they can, as I said, stay fast, stay eyes up. And the other really, really good benefit of that also is the defense loads up on the one side. Well, tell you what, you've got weapons on the both. You can shift it. And I'll tell you, this is a prime example, was that James Schiller try. Now, what we saw there was a left side raid. You've got KP parked on the left. You're going to keep Razor all the way on the right. So what it did, when the Knights broke through that left edge and kept the ball alive, and then ball gets to Kalen Ponga. And then Kalen Ponga's going to crab a bit, and he's going to fucking rocket that ball over to our boy Razor Sharp. And you watch the defenders there. They already had 2 on him. And then because of just the sheer elusiveness and the sheer pace of Razor Sharp, he's managed to attract Ben Travojevic in, only for a minute, quickly bit in, and then bang, off he goes. He shoots it out to Gags. Gags gets the 2-on-1, and then it was just enough time, as I said, with Ben Travojevic. Couldn't quite cover him in cover defense. If Razor hadn't held him up or squared him up for just that split second, might have been enough to shut down the play with James Schiller. James Schiller, credit to him, great athleticism to get that ball down. But that's what I was saying. With the Newcastle Knights sort of spreading out, Kalen Ponga and Razor Sharp will have kept that Manly defense more lateral. They couldn't sort of stack up. They can't go, shit, what side's KP playing? Because now they're going, what side? Fuck, KP's over here, but they've got fucking Razor on this side too. So when I was watching that game, I was like, fuck, I love that. I love that, seeing Razor more on the right, keep KP more left. I really, really like that adjustment. So I don't know who gets credit for that, Blake Green or Adam O'Brien, but I really, really like that. And I thought that was a perfect execution. That's exactly what we needed to do. And didn't that brand of football just suit us? We got the players to do it. So the script is written there. And then, you keep talking about, guys like Dill Brown. Well, yeah, chuck Dill Brown in the mix. Tell me it ain't going to work. So, shout out. I thought that was really that one try. May not have been the most sensational try we scored, but I just like that shape of Kalen Ponga linking up with Razor across there, and defenders are just sitting there going, what the fuck do we do here? What are we going to do? They've got absolute 2 running threats coming at him in a big way. So I really, really like that. And again, when I talked about sort of creating more one-on-one space, KPP, like, what more can you say? You give that man just a little bit of broken play, bang. I think he stiff-armed or just swatted away Wardell, and then Razor, one of the great supporting players. He's that fast. He's such a good support player. He could have bagged another try with Schiller, but he's just because he's so fast, he's such a great support player, in or outside of players, whatever it may be. It was just beautiful to see. So let's hope we see more of that. I hope we really lean into that brand of football. I really, really did like that from the Newcastle Knights this week. And then, typified off with, again, that beautiful eyes up play. Kalen Ponga, golden point. The short side raid. How easy would it have been just to sort of shift out wide and then, hope for the best, maybe just get the ball out the Shills and see if it works. But no, KP puts the midfield kick up, and then our boy, the flying mullet. Boy, oh boy, have we got a good one on our hands with the flying mullet. The tip on, and the rest is history, battlers. We win the game in golden points. So, again, The Newcastle Knights making adjustments. That's what we wanted to see for so long. We've seen it with just like there's plan A and there's never been a plan B, but came out a different football side. I don't know, we give maybe the booing, the booing probably would have helped. The booing absolutely would have helped. I can't sit there and say, they played worse for it. They came out and they went, they've had enough. Maybe that was rock bottom. Let's hope for the Newcastle Knights going in the second half against the Seagulls. That was absolute rock bottom. And this is it. They've what was the comments made in 2023 by Christian Welsh? Remember the press conference where he's like, Jesus, how the fuck did the Newcastle Knights lose to that Penrith team? Well, let's hope that's for this season. Them getting booed by their own, the battlers booing them off the stage and coming out and playing a completely reinvigorated brand of attack. Because the Seagulls just had no reply to it. They were just like, what the fuck is going on here? And again, we can lean into that brand of football. It suits us. It suits us. I really like that identity of football for the Newcastle Knights. So let's just hope, again, this was against this is our best win of the season purely because of the quality of team we played. We beat the Tigers early. They were clunky. We were clunky. We beat the Dolphins. They were very clunky. But now, we played a Reggie's team against South at fucking Magic Round. We played an Origin depleted Panthers team. But this team, they got to, they're very inconsistent, but tell you what, they got fucking talent. And that back line was Mick. Again, Leo Hopewadi out, but tell you what, you plug in Cooler, just great depth in that team. They got, the older heads of Daly Cherry Evans, even they couldn't come up with answers as how to stop it. It was just, one-way traffic from there on. I know we sort of let in that soft Tommy Talau try towards the end in the second half. That was kind of disappointing. Again, but that was getting back to what they were doing, just that super quick play the balls. I think it was cool to manage to get the fast play the ball, that big DCE line break. Again, just that retreating defense of the Newcastle Knights. And then, Talau just does the biggest fucking dummy of all time. For a winger to get untouched in the middle of a dummy is unforgivable, but
There's
it
a
is.
comment from Tony Lincoln that I noticed as well. You can see Ponga react at halftime when they got booed. It's like he said, "Nah, we're not letting this happen again."
Yeah, let's hope that was it, Tony. Let's hope that was fucking rock bottom. I can't see how much worse does it get. How much worse does it get when you're going, boys? We can't fucking score points. The fucking Seagulls are just dominating us in front of our own. We're staring at five-game losing streak at Mac Jones is just unforgivable. And that was the line in the sand moment going, yep, this is it. So let's hope so, Tony. Fucking let's hope that it is, pal. But all right, let's jump into, shall we, your Nitanium Forged Player of the Week, brought to you by LGB Marines, the experts in building resilience on and off the water. Just like the tougher structures they construct, this week's player has been battle-tested, unshaken, and built to withstand anything. LGB Marine precision, strength, and resilience. Let's dive into this week's winner. Oh, and he's picked up another one. Our boy, Razor Sharp. Christ, I think this is like his fifth one or something. It's absolutely remarkable. 25 NRL games for Razor Sharp, and he's putting this sort of stuff up. As I said earlier, playing on the right edge, I really, really liked. Great, as I said earlier too, great support player. Just that immediate pace is just, as soon as anyone breaks the line, even in defense, how many times did he clean up, Daly Cherry Evans there, or one of our own breaks through? He's just, he's in second gear sort of supporting them there. So one thing I do want to talk about, how on earth did the Newcastle Knights not get a penalty for our boy Razor Sharp being held back late in the game? I tell you what, that would have dominated the headlines. If you saw Adam O'Brien, I swear he's going to punch that bloody glass straight out of the bloody coach's box. Schiller makes that line break along the right edge. I think it was Wardell. Hands on Razor, way too long, dragged him down, takes him out of play. So then obviously Schiller's kicked the ball because he's got no one inside to pass to him. He muffs the kick and it goes out. But tell you what, how the hell that's not a penalty late in the game? It should have been done and dusted there, but the rugby league gods gave us a great game, so we can sort of look past that. But yes, Razor Sharp, oh boy, as I said, 25 NRL games. What is this guy going to be like after 100 games, 200 games, 250 games? He is just, what more can you say? A rugby league novice would look at him and go, mate, how many games do you reckon he's played? There's no way they'd say fucking 25. Mate, it must be his fifth or sixth season. He's just footy IQ's off the wall. It's not luck. It's not luck this guy is in prime places at the right. He's in the right place at the right time, and that ain't luck. That ain't luck. That's all between the ears. That's footy IQ. So we've got a really, really good one on our hands with Razor Sharp. Just again, I can't see someone has yet to tell me why he cannot develop into a halfback. Still, no one has unequivocally come out and give me a really good reason. Go, Linc, this is why, and I could sit there and contemplate it. If you're one of them, tell me, message me, email me, do whatever you fucking blow up my United hotline. Tell me why Razor Sharp cannot be a halfback. See more of his kicking game too. That's nice to see. So you let me know. Linc, if you think, mate, you're fucking spot on, he could be a halfback, or Linc, you're an absolute idiot, pal. He's a fullback, 5'8" at best. So, but all right, let's move along. Also, I want to give you my Paycat United Players of the Week, brought to you by Paycat, a crew in Newey who know their stuff. Whether you're paying the boys on a construction site or trying to fix up that tricky Shads Award for your NDIS biz, make sure you get in contact with the team at Paycat, who make they also back hundreds of businesses and even help an NRL club keep their business running smooth. So you can do payroll yourself or get the Paycat team to do it for you. Either way, you'll have more time to crack a cold one and watch the footy. Let's take a look at some blokes who earned their pay this weekend. My best battlers, I thought, was Kai Pearce-Paul. He was absolutely immense. 97.92% tackle efficiency. 47 tackles, only one missed. How many times have I said it? You get these guys coming over from the Super League and they got all the flashy stuff in the bag, but the rigors of the defense of the NRL week in, week out, you go, because let's be honest, Super League isn't sort of notorious for its defensive side of football. It's very much attacking sort of focus, but boy, oh boy, he is just developed into such a great footy player. You got the defense down. There's just so much tremendous upside and attack that we're starting to, unfortunately, we unlock, and then the very next day it's announced that he'll be moving on elsewhere. But if you go back and rewatch the game, the amount of times Kai Pearce-Paul, for a big guy, gets out and either pressures the ball carrier or the kicker. And if you look when Daly Cherry even shapes to kick the field goal, who is running and is just meters away and just shuts down him? He's like, no, fuck this. I'm going to give it to Luke Brooks. Boom, straight out. It was Kai Pearce-Paul. Absolutely Kai Pearce-Paul for a big guy. I said 47 tackles, one missed, golden point. He's still doing that shit. So it was just all that little stuff. All that little stuff is absolutely crazy. And then again, it's a shame you don't see more of it. Kai Pearce-Paul in open space, he just looks like a rugby league gazelle. He makes it look effortless. Now, just seeing him stroll past, brushing guys, big line break, getting the ball off to Razor. The offload game's really starting to pick up, which we all knew he had in the bag. Big, rangy guy. So, yeah, Kai got my 3 this week. I thought he was absolutely sensational. I gave my 2 points to your Nitanian Forge Player of the Week. What more can I say about Fletch? Had another really incredible game. And I gave 1 point to Kalen Ponga. I know you're all sitting there going, what about fucking Fletcher Hunt, Linc? I'll get to Fletcher Hunt in a minute, but Jesus Christ, Kalen Ponga. Now, what I was saying for those who tuned in during the night's watch, what we need to do, battlers, is you've got to stop comparing 2023 Kalen to 2025 Kalen. He's clearly not physically, he's not at his peak. Came into this, it was they diagnosed as a deltoid ankle injury, and you can see the lateral movement is certainly not as sharp or as good as it when he is fully fit. When Kalen Ponga is fully fit, he's just burning guys. Clearly, it's hampered him a little bit there, but watching the game back today, you just looked at it and it looked like Kalen Ponga's team. It looked like you weren't sort of going, he floats in and out of games, or he's not this and that. That was fucking Kalen Ponga's game. And again, he tried his absolute heart out in that first half. He gave us so many opportunities, whether it was trying to get the quick play of the ball and getting penalties or forced dropouts or whatnot. He was trying absolutely everything he could. He tried his guts out. Tough as nails. Ola Kawatu fucking jammed him twice. Got him 2 real good ones. He's just tough as nails, KP. And yeah, it was so good. For him to finally break that try-scoring drought in the fashion that he did, I was so happy for him. So let's hope that really reignites Kalen Ponga's try-scoring form, and we start to see much more of that. But yeah, let's take a look at some of the other players, battlers, because there were plenty of other players. You know, can only give three points away this week. But James Schiller, as I was saying before, someone in the Knights Watch was telling me Schiller had what could only be defined as a Sean Kenny Dow kind of a game. And I was like, that is the fucking perfect definition. Now, for the those who don't know, Sean Kenny Dow was the ultimate rocks and diamonds player. He would give you some of the worst errors, handling errors, just dumb penalties. But then he'd pull out some miraculous shit out of nowhere and win you the game. You know, he could have fucking 5 errors in a game and 2 tries. It was just, he could be polar opposite Sean Kenny Down. I was like, that is the perfect way to sum up James Schiller's night. I was so stoked for him to get that try again. I don't know why the decision was made to move him to centre. Listening to a presser before, and he was saying he did play a lot of centre at Canberra. But yeah, it was clearly not working. You know, Kyle McCarthy, who did an absolutely amazing job, I thought, in the games that he was filling in on that left centre job against, you know, even last week against Moses Suley, who was just fucking dominating. He was a meter eater for the Dragons last week. I thought Kyle did a really good job, but yeah, Ruben Garrick proving all sorts of headaches on James Schiller. So to see him sort of shift over and to score that try he did, you know, great finisher. So it's kind of good to see him sort of redeem himself a little bit with that one. But who are some other really good players? Fletcher Hunt. Now, this guy, first half, pretty quiet. We didn't sort of see a lot of Fletcher Hunt. But boy, oh boy, second half, did he come and did he deliver? Absolute aerial specialist. That how he managed to jump up, not only get that ball, and somehow managed to find the try line. Sort of hits the ground, scrambles up, bang, get that try there, and then managed to beat bloody Cooler in the air for that last try. I tell you what, if that is not the cover for Rugby League 26, the upcoming Rugby League games, I'll fucking riot. I'll make my own cover and you guys can download it and use it yourself. That, as soon as I saw that picture, I was like, that screams of the Rugby League 26 cover. I'll write if it's not the cover. Anyways, only on a train and trial contract. I know coming into I think it was on a roster review show, I didn't quite know where his contract situation was. And I was saying, boy, oh boy, when he comes into the building on the very next morning, there better be a contract sitting there waiting for our boy Fletcher Hunt. Holy dooly. He had an absolutely sensational game again, playing in center, not even on the wing. He was absolutely immense for the Newcastle Knights. And special mention too, Jack Cogger. And what Jack Cogger did really, really well this game was just sit back and just let KP and Razor do their thing. He just picked his moments, kicked really well. He had that really good try-saving tackle on Ruben Garrick. I know Cogs isn't someone we sort of really isn't renowned for his defensive prowess, but he cut fucking Garrick there for an absolute try-saver. And yeah, he put in that beautiful kick, 40-meter line, put it on an absolute fucking dime for Fletcher Hunt to get his try, you know, and that's what you want from your halfback. At this point, I was more than happy to have that guy take a back seat and just let it be the KP and Razor show. And I thought Cogs did really well. So a massive shout out to Cogs. I thought he was really good in that regard. Again, Jaden Brayley. Let me know what you think. I think the Newcastle Knights attack is far more fluid when Jaden Brayley's playing at hooker. Is that a hot take or not? Because as soon as he comes on, you can sense an immediate change in the pace of the Newcastle Knights attack. Undoubtedly. The attack, I just feel, flows much better once he's there. He picks his moments. I've said it so many times. Phoenix, great defender, great service, all that stuff, but he doesn't have what Jaden has with that eyes up. He just picks a moment and bang, he's gone. He has that quick scoot, and there was a couple of times that he caught Manly napping and just got, you know, playing over the advantage line, got our set started really well. I thought Jaden the last 2 weeks, and he sort of vindicated me with this game. I think a lot of people going, fuck yeah, Linc. I can see what you mean now, because I know late in the Dragons game, didn't quite get to see it as much, but I think he absolutely flourished. And yeah, so unfortunately, he's another guy we're going to be missing because, you know, he's really starting to find some real good form, I feel. I think Jaden's been really, really immense. And he'd only been averaging about 30 minutes up until this game. Well, he played 52. And I know you still got Tyson out, so you're going to be shifting Phoenix to defend more in the middle. But geez, at 52 minutes, I thought he was really, really good. Really, really got the momentum going there. The young bloke on debut, Elijah Salse Limawana, I thought he was really, really good. I thought he was good. The young fellow. What's some of his stats? Elijah, what do you got, big dog? Sorry, I got a new stat spreadsheet, Battlers. I'm still trying to work it out. What he got? 6 runs, 50 meters, 19 post contact. How many minutes? 24 minutes. So not a massive amount of minutes. Yeah, he sort of did all right. Greg Marzu too, though. We're going to talk about run meters, Battlers. We're going to talk about run meters. How many times have I had to sit there and to defend our boy, Greg Marzu? Now, look, is he the best under the high ball? Clearly not. Clearly not. Ruben Garrett got it on him. We talked about what could have been a potential try, but we shut it down. But geez Louise, 267 run meters for our boy Greg. Completely and utterly dominated our run meters. 87 kick return meters, 71 post contact meters. There isn't a coach in the NRL who wouldn't love Greg Marzu. He is just for the play 1, play 2 carry. He's so important to us. And yeah, the amount, I don't think he broke a tackle in the first half. What's he got here? The 1 line break, only 4 tackle breaks, but still, he was an absolute handful. Just numbers in tackles. Got the set started off really, really well. I thought it was a really good game from Greggy Marzu also for the Newcastle Knights. Was there anyone else the Battlers have sort of brought up, Lou, that I may have missed?
One was Cogger, but you just spoke about him. So
Cogs?
yeah.
Were they like saying it was a good game from Cogs?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I thought. I want to make special mention. Oh, no, it wasn't like a game where he lit the world on fire and had the mad sort of try assists and stuff like that, but he just played his part. He played his part.
Ravenous said Brayley was excellent.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I'm sure there's going to be far more people getting eyes on Brayley. I just feel like the attack just flows that little bit better. It's less effort when Brails is out there. And again, picks his moments really well and just gets us playing over that advantage line really well.
And Tony said G-Train worked his ass off.
Yeah, fucking oath he did, pal. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, that'll wrap up the glazing review of the Newcastle Knights 26-22 win over the Manly Seagulls. And I think we can say the rivalry's back on the table, right? We did it, Battlers. We did it. The rivalry's fucking born. They mightn't admit it. They might be going, whatever. We know. All right, let's do it. Let's answer some of your burning questions brought to you by Get Out Alive Fire Safety Training. You work in a business, Battlers, chances are, like the Manly Warringah Seagulls, you're not prepared for emergency. So make sure you contact the fine folk at Get Out Alive Fire Safety Training for all your training, procedures, and plans. Because if you do not learn, you will burn in Golden Point and Mac Jones Stadium. You don't want that. You want to be prepared. All right, let's kick it off. We'll start with this voicemail first.
Hey, Battlers. Well, for once, it's not a shit we lost again. What a fucking shit performance. Yeah, our first half wasn't too great, but our second half was one of the best and grittiest games of second halves I've seen in a long, long time. We actually used our spine properly and used the ball properly for once. Yeah, we don't have many forwards, but, I think just our movement of the ball and the way we kept offloading and stuff like that gave Manly a run for their money. About time we start using our wingers to catch balls and contest for football. Quickly, I have a question for Linc. If we lose Ponga for State of Origin, do you keep Sharp at 7 and use Hunt at fullback? Or do you keep Sharp at 7 and bring another young bloke in for fullback and leave Hunt on the wing?
Ooh, anonymous battler. All right, so KP. Okay, when KP gets named, I think that's tomorrow. The Queenslanders name their team Monday. Oh, mate, you're going to have to put Razor back there. He just, for a team that wants points, he's reliable. I know I really want to develop him as a half, but the bloke is safe as houses. Reports are, Louise, I don't know if you heard this. Reports are Jackson Hastings will be named for the Newcastle Knights.
Did see a comment in the comment section about that.
Yes. Obviously, Tyson Gamble out with that broken hand, so he's off the table there. So another
It's exciting.
Yeah. So, no, Connor Vitano's another really, really talented football player we got. Look, if he's anything like, I keep repeating myself, like the other debutants we've had in these young guys, he'll probably come in and absolutely kill it too. But I just feel like the way Razor has, the points he's scoring from fullback, I think they'll just lean back into that, keep that sort of combination, a combination they already know. They don't probably want too much more, inexperience, another debutant in the team. That would be my guess. But yeah, Connor Vitano, mate, they pull the trigger on him. I think it could pay dividends too. Could pay dividends. So I did skip over these. Now I got to play these voicemails. I was meant to play them at the end of the review to sort of get the battlers' opinions, because this poor bastard, he comes in, he's up and down like a bloody fiddler's elbow. Justin, let's see how you're doing today, pal.
It's great being a Newcastle Knights fan, isn't it? I mean, that was a tale of two halves. Yeah, its first half was absolutely shit. It was rubbish. It was a pathetic half. I don't mind the booing. I think the booing played its part and woke the team up, and they came out in the second half absolutely on the ball. Losing Frizz didn't help. Yeah, the young forward who came on to make his debut was pretty good. I definitely think he's going to go a long way. Sheila had a shocker in the first half, and a couple of errors in the second half, but made up for it. Ponga, how right was Robbie O? I mean, Robbie O was spot on. I think Ponga just needs to take a step back and let the halves be the halves and organise the team. Or really, AOB should put him in number 7, Dylan Brown at number 6 next year, and Sharp at 1, and I reckon that will be an absolute awesome lethal spine. As far as Hunt and Schiller and Young and Best and Marzu and Gagai go, yeah, it's going to be a issue for AOB to sort out who stays and who gets dropped, because most of them don't deserve to be dropped. So, yeah, good luck, AOB. But yeah, bring on next week. Let's go, Knights.
Selection migraines for Adam O'Brien. That's right. The Cavalry still yet to come. You got Brady Best to make his return, Jacob Saifidi. So, but what it does tell us is the young crop coming through. Boy, oh boy, it's exciting. It's exciting. Again, I'll be repeating myself 1,000 fucking times with these debutants. You get a few games in them. There's a fucking good team there. There's a really good crop of young guys coming through that come in, plug in, do a job. So absolutely some migraines there and we'll kick it off with Chris. Last one. Come on, Chris, load. Let's try it again.
Hi, Linc, Lou, and fellow battlers. What a game. Started the first half with despair and shithousery. It was crap. But came out after half time and the boys really put in what a second half performance. Where has that been all season long? What more can you say? Manly got Fletchered by Fletcher Sharp and Fletcher Hunt. What a game by those two young blokes. Can't speak highly enough of them. I think the future of the club with these young guys coming through is looking good, and it goes to show. Big shout out to Elijah, the debutant on debut. I thought he had a cracking game in the middle there. It was good. But what more can you say? Go the Knights. Fuck you, Manly.
Took the words out of my mouth, pal. Yeah, fuck you, Manly. Nice one, Chris. Nice one, mate. Rivalry reborn. All right, what are the battlers got for us?
First question is from Joanne. Do you think the fact that we go to Vegas would attract more signings to the club?
Oh, I think I've been asked this before. If there's if there's really good players out there that may be gambling addicts, might be a real good draw card to come to Newcastle Knights. Joanne, what do you think? Who knows? Possibly. Couldn't hurt. Get a free trip to Vegas. Might be a little caveat that comes sign for the Newcastle Knights. Wouldn't hurt our chances. Put it that way, Joanne.
Not a question, but just a statement really from Carly. Would love to see Linc do another show with Dan from What's New in the Castle.
Oh, well, reach out to him. Yeah, I think Dan and I make a pretty good fucking team. It was, what was it, last episode last year, I think, the Cowboys review game we did with Dan. So, yeah, absolutely. Have to get Dan up here into the bar too. Imagine a watch along, a night's watch with Linc and Dan. Yeah, we'll leave it with me. Leave it with me. I'll work out something with Dan and we'll do something. We'll link up through the year and work something out.
Justin's asked, is Sharp eligible for Rookie of the Year Daily Emerald Award?
Oh, what is the eligibility rules? I can't. Is it? Why have I got 8 games in my head, or is it 5 from the previous year? I can't. How many games I'd have to just see how many games Razor played last year. No, I don't think he would be. If he's on 25 NRL games now, and what do we ran 14? Would he play 11 games last year? So, no, I don't think he, unfortunately, mate, I don't think he would be. I don't think he would be, dude. That's what sucks when you debut sort of at the arse end of the year before. It doesn't give you that full run because, yeah, this was his rookie year. Jesus, he'd be short favourites to be it for sure.
Gary plays drums. With Dom coming back and assuming everyone is healthy, what does our backline of the future look like?
Oh, Gary. Yeah, selection migraines because, you can't drop Greg Marzhew. I understand the high ball stuff, but he's just too important. Those numbers he posts, they're just too good. They're too immense. So you can kind of overlook some of that deficiencies there just because he's just such a handful doing those tough carries out of our own end. So it's really up to that right wing spot. So at the moment, you obviously got Schiller there now. That's his jersey to lose. And then, you got Dom coming to town. And then, you got Fletcher Hunt also. So it's a 3-way battle at this point in time. I would imagine there's no way they've gone through all this effort to try and get Dom Young if they weren't going to plug him in immediately. I think their thinking would be if we can try and reinvigorate that scintillating 2023 form, I think that's what they would do. Unfortunately, Shill's, again, I don't know why they moved him to the left center when they did for this game, but it didn't sort of help his cause to keep that jersey, but who knows? As I said, because on the roster review show, I was sort of alluding to the fact, well, Schiller wouldn't be having a really good game because he's going, well, I don't want to fucking lose this jersey. And now the right's really starting to take off. We always give love to the lethal left. Well, the last 2 weeks, it's been sort of way more right orientated. They're the guys sort of breaking the game apart more so than the left. So
Tony said Dom, G-Train, Best, and Gags.
I think it would be the old guard. I think you're right. That's the 2023 back line. It worked for Adam O'Brien in the past. It was, I think it would, on paper, would be the most lethal back line we've ever had. I think Greg had the averaging over 200 plus run meters. I think you had both Best and Gags in the top 3 or 4 tackle breakers in the comp. And then you double down with that with not only Greg breaking Tamana Tahu's try-scoring record of the season, but then you had Dom outright set it as well. So, I think Adam O'Brien's probably going to lean back in that and try and probably recapture the glory of 2023 with that backline once more.
Carly said, I love Schiller. Old Hank really felt sorry for him on Thursday night.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought it was just, again, I know he's a professional football player, but I don't understand why. Why now you would shift him? I'd love to know the reasoning why they did that to begin with. Maybe they just didn't realize Fletcher Hunt could do a really good job in the centers. But yeah, he really struggled. But it was just so good to see him get that try because, you could tell his confidence was shot. I think there was one passage of play there where, I think it was the Falalo cut him in half and then turned the ball over and then he did that high shot and just, it was just a really bad, couple of plays there. And but yeah, again, just good to see him really finish a really great try. And hopefully puts it behind him, the poor bastard.
Ravenous has asked, will we make some moves in the forwards for next year? Currently looking very light with the losses.
Oh, we must be, dude. We absolutely must be. The only reason why I think, tentative on guys like Gags and, KPP, like the price point, it wasn't because we didn't like KPP or didn't want him, it was the price. I think the reported figure was the Tigers offered him 600. I think we're currently paying him 750. I know we paid him overs to get over here. We were paying certainly on potential at that point. I think they're just, must be going light on some of these contracts so they can really have some cash to splash for a big name forward. That's my only thinking. Like, what else could it possibly be? So I must be. I'm just thinking next year their plans are to have young Jermaine McEwen who come in. I thought he did an okay job off the bench. I would be assuming that would be his spot next year if it all goes to plan there. Unless they, I don't think they would. I don't think they would move Tyson Frizzell back. I think he's probably going to see his days out as a night as a prop. I think they'll put young McEwen there as the right edge back rower, save a bit of money there, playing a young guy. Yeah, I think they're just trying to get some cheapies, mate, trying to get some young guys because, the great premiership rosters all have what they do have. They're sprinkling of really, really good veteran players. So your older heads that aren't kind of breaking the bank, but they've seen enough rugby league winters that they can get you out of the shit and they can really keep your squad together. And then you got obviously your marquee guys. So your $1 million players, you got to have them in key positions. But not only that, you need those young guys who are playing well above what they're getting paid. So they're on unders because they're rookies, they're young, but you get them at a right time where they are, you might be paying them $200,000, but they're playing like a fucking $500,000-$600,000 player. You need those guys. That's what the great teams have. They got these guys that are paying next to nothing, but they're performing like absolute superstars. So maybe Peter O'Sullivan, who's put together these rosters in the past, is looking and going, well, there's some young up and coming guys here. We can plug them in, do a job on the cheap, and develop them really, really well. Some good signs. I think we can all agree that the signs of these young players look really good, but we are missing that real big alpha dog. We didn't keep. Unfortunately, we lost Leo. Daniel Saifidi's out of the building. We've only got sort of JSAF, who's a really kind of big, dependable forward. He needs help. So maybe they're putting their money aside, mate, to go get a big, big forward.
Christopher's asked, why is Tyrone Thompson not been getting games considering our forward stocks are low?
Yeah, I haven't watched much or any of New South Wales Cup, to be completely honest. Just mustn't be, it mustn't be, doing enough for the coaching staff, I guess, mate. The younger guys are doing a better job. He did okay when he came in. He didn't set the world on fire. You got a professional player. It's not like the occasions get too big for him, because what was it? Did he make his debut? I got a funny feeling. Was that the West Tigers game back home? And he made his debut starting with his brother, if I remember, if my memory serves me correctly. But yeah, that's all you can put it down to, mate. Again, I don't get to watch any of the cup side. So it just must be maybe the little finer details to his game he needs to work on. So
Tony said, which is a good comment, Linc, you should send our support to Shills.
I did. I actually shot our boy Hank, Chris Evans with a buzz cut. I shot him a message, and mate, he did laugh it off. If you did see the Instagram story, I think he had the Marvin Gaye song playing. So I think he's sort of taken the mickey out of the guy, and I'm sure all the boys got around him. But yeah, geez. Pretty fucking boneheaded comments, isn't it? And it's so funny. It's so funny. I hate giving any compliments to the Brisbane Broncos, but shout out to them that those Black Dog Institute jerseys that they wore, fucking fantastic. Great message. It's something needs to be said more of, and it's just unfortunate you got that incident happens. And the messaging is all about mental health and all this stuff, and you got dickheads sending fucking death threats to rugby league players, for God's sake. But yeah, I think he's doing all right, dude. I think it's water for ducks back to Shills, but you just never know who you're sending that stuff to and what they're going through. So
yes, James asked McEwen or ESL for KVP's position next year.
I think it'll be McEwen's, mate. Shout out to Newcastle _rugby league, Newcastle Knights Juniors on Instagram. Lockie, go give him a follow. He's basically the Knighted, but for pathways, mate, because I can't keep my finger on the pulse of anything, so I'll rely on him heavily. But what he was saying was, yeah, they're starting to develop him into a middle. Predominantly came through as a back row, but he'll stay in the middle. I think his way forward will be playing prop, but McEwen is a guy I think will be the right edge back rower. Sorry, for the Newcastle Knights.
Christopher's asked, hey, Link, do you think Sharp will end up being the Knights' all-time leading try scorer? 25 games, 21 tries already.
Oh, that's a really good question. Do you know what? Yeah, I think you could lock it in. I think you could, but if this keeps up, unequivocally, it's going to be his. Let's be honest. Yeah, what's he on now? 10 tries already for this year in 14 odd games. So, yeah, absolutely, dude. He'll fucking kill it. Yeah, that's a really good one. Christopher, he'd be short price favourites, mate, to take that out as the all-time try scorer for the Newcastle Knights. Yeah, fucking oath.
All right, last one.
All right, last one.
Did we get the license to contest bombs after the win against Manly?
Oh, didn't we ever, Troy? Didn't we ever? The Fletcher Hunt Rugby League Academy for contesting high balls. Hey? Yeah, absolutely. Isn't it good to see? Isn't it good to see? No need to take the piss out of last year where young Kyle McCarthy didn't get the memo on contesting high kicks, and then fucking Kai Pearce-Paul ends up getting his first try from it. It was the butt of all jokes last year. All your mates going, what's with the fucking Knights not contesting high balls, Link? Yeah. Anyways, that seems to have gone. Because, yeah, when you got a guy like that, like I said in the roster review show, you go, boy, oh boy, against that Dragons games, like we saw it, give this guy an opportunity. The both times that I think they were the only 2 times he contested high kicks. He fucking got him. He scored 1 try, and then he set up KP for the other one. So, the Roosters going to be doing their goddamn homework on Fletcher Hunt if he's named next week. I'll be very interested to know if it's going to be Schiller on that right, or they're going to go, you know what? You'd feel like there's probably at least a try in Fletcher Hunt. You get a decent enough kick to him, is a bloody good chance that he's going to either get the ball and score, or the Roosters are going to fucking fumble it, or you're going to give yourself half a chance. So, going to be an interesting roster review show for sure. All right, battlers. As I was saying before, if you want to go in the running for that sexy 1997 Newcastle Knights Premiership and Grand Final T-shirts, make sure you're and the 3/4 sleeve V-neck clean skin Newcastle Knights jersey. All you need to do, go find our YouTube channel, go subscribe there, head to Spotify, follow us there, and leave a big old 5-star review. And for those of you who've been asking, I am setting up the redoing our new Apple channel as well that we lost. So stay tuned. I will be getting that up and running also. I've heard your cries and they will be answered, battlers. Don't you worry. So, yeah, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. Give it a big old thumbs up wherever you're watching. It does go a long, long way. And I tell you what, I've had so many random supporters loving watching me going through the ups and downs of a Newcastle Knights game. The downs of witnessing another scoreless fucking half of football to just being absolutely elated with a Kalen Ponga golden point try.
I saw a comment from Carly earlier. Sorry, I can't bring it up now, but she said that she rewatched the game, rewatched you watching it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, good on you, Carly. Oh, it is. It's had so many views. It's I think as I said, I feel like everyone loves Newcastle Knights supporters. They're just around the grounds. Everyone loves them. Like, let's be honest. If that was a Roosters game or a bloody Broncos supporter, there'd be so many people like, nah, fuck, I'm not watching that. But the old battlers, everyone loves a battler, right? Everyone wants to get around and see that, a Newcastle Knights fucking rugby league diehard getting around it. So, it was good fun. Huge shout out for all those who tuned in for that. It was the best Knights Watch live stream fucking ever. That is going to be so hard to beat. That's going to be so hard to beat. Down the dumps and being absolutely fucking elated. My God. Rugby league, it's one of the great rides in life, isn't it, battlers? All right, battlers, that will conclude tonight's Match Rewind show. Make sure you tune in. There will be an Origin special. I'll be doing another Origin autopsy with our boy Tom from Penalty Broncos, so keep an eye out for that. Don't know when we're going to be doing that one, but that will be coming as the preview for Game 2 as the Blues look to build a rugby league dynasty over in Perth. And then obviously we'll be doing the roster review show for the upcoming clash against the Roosters, another old rival of the Newcastle Knights. So make sure you stay tuned for that 7:30 Tuesday. Battlers,
Bumblebee tuna.
I'm getting the Adam O'Brien out of here. See you later.